Hey guys, Harrison Jones here with Harry's Holsters. Today we've got the Sig P365 that was just released this January 2018, and we're going to have a range day with it. We're going to put 1,000 rounds to this gun, and we're also going to compare it to some of its competitors like the Smith & Wesson Shield and the Glock 43. Now, one thing that automatically sets this gun apart from them is the 10-round capacity and roughly the same size or smaller than both those guns. So we're going to see if this gun lives up to the hype. Alright guys, that was the first 10 rounds through the Sig P365 today, and it seems to be running pretty good. Yesterday I actually ran 250 rounds through it to test out before this video, and there were a few issues. A lot of failures to go into battery, and that happened both when loading the gun and throughout the magazine. Happened at a pretty high failure rate, but it was 35 degrees out. I did not remove the factory grease that came on the gun, and I think that may have been a big part of the issue. I was shooting MagTech 115 grain ammo, which is what I'm shooting today. So let's see how it runs for the other 999 or 990 rounds.
We already go into battery. Oh. Once again, did not return to battery.
Okay, so we fired 200 rounds of the 115 MagTech so far through the Sig P365, and I'm out here with Edge from Everyday Ready. He's their lead instructor, and thanks to him we have this wonderful place to shoot. So he's going to put some more rounds through it and see if we can recreate some of the malfunctions we've had, which are mostly failure to go into battery and the slide locking back. The slide locking back could potentially be hand positioning, but we've had a lot of failure to go into battery with this ammo. Going to shoot another 100 rounds of the 115, and then we're going to switch to Blazer 124 grain.
It was a soft malfunction. I capped the slide, and I'm going to go back and shoot again.
Hey guys, so you can see we just had that soft malfunction, and with it was a light primer strike. The trigger was dead, and you know, cleared the round, and that's what we have. So, data point, let's see what's next.
All right. The factory lubricant has been removed from this gun and replaced with new lubricant. We're experiencing some issues in testing here on the range, so we're going to strip it down, take it back, and see what's up, and apply some more lubricant just to be sure.
All right, so right here we have the Sig P365 taken down. Going to apply a little bit of lubricant to each rail. It's already kind of wet, so we'll see if this is the issue or not, but I doubt it is. And there's a little bit of a funny thing with the reassembly. You have to push this slide release up to activate the takedown lever down, and there's also a little component right there that can go up if you pull the trigger. It's down right now, but remember that might cause it to snag. All right, let's see how it runs.
All right, so we have another failure to go into battery on loading. That's happening, I would say, probably better than 50% of the time. And now we've already lubed the rails up a little bit in an effort to rule that out. So it's interesting that in all the soft malfunctions we had, the primer strike on the round is actually not centered. So we think this has something to do with the gun not being fully in battery when the firing pin is discharged. So one of the difficulties I'm having with this pistol today is, based on my grip, I seem to be having a lot of interaction with the slide release. When I start shooting, everything goes well, usually through about the first 5 rounds or so.
And as I'm working my grip to maintain control of this small handgun, at some point my hand is coming in contact with the slide release almost to a fault. I mean, reliably. So that's just a personal issue. For me to run this handgun, I would have to just work with it a bit and basically adjust my grip as necessary to be friendly with the slide release.
Okay, so we've put 490 rounds of the MagTech ammo through it. And we were going to switch over to the 124s at the 300 round cap, but we just kept going. We wanted to see if it was the ammo or the lubricant, and it appears the lubricant helped a little bit. I myself am noticing less failures to go into battery, less malfunctions. Monty and Austin are still having some issues with it. It might be their hand size. Both of their hands are a little bit bigger than mine, and I might just be getting used to the grip. We're going to do a limp wrist test here once we get over the 500 round point, and we're going to start using the 124 grain blazer, see if that makes a difference. But here's the last 10 rounds. Let's see how it's working. It might help if I chamber around. You can see, fair to go into battery on the first round. It's really hard to get a consistent grip with a second hand. I mean, there's just really not a lot of place to put it on the gun.
All right, so we've switched over to Blazer 124s. We're going to see how those run. We stripped the gun down and just wiped off a little excess carbon off the feed ramp and such. We did not, however, reapply lubricant. So we're going to see how she does. All right, so since we've been experiencing some issues with the gun going back into battery after firing, we're going to give it a little less support, kind of do a limp wrist test, and just see what the limit is and when that happens. All right, so next we're going to take the P365 and we're going to put it against the shield in the Glock 43, and we're going to do a quick drill from 5 yards from the high ready. It's going to punch out, fire 5 on the target for time, just to give us a baseline comparison of how they control with subsequent shots.
All right, this is the Sig P365.
Time of 2.39.
All right, this is the Smith & Wesson Shield.
Time of 2.17.
Glock 43.
Time of 2.32.
So between the three handguns, actually the Sig seems to do pretty well for me. With the Smith & Wesson, you know, a typical problem for me with a small gun is getting a good trigger address. So pull my shot groups over to one side typically. And then with the Glock 43, I had a tendency to pull low. So there's definitely different characteristics with all three handguns. Comfort-wise, I would have to say I would go with the Glock 43 from the standpoint of just feeling like with my bigger hands that I can manipulate it better. However, I didn't shoot as well with the Glock 43. So
For the last 350 rounds, we've been shooting 124 grain Blazer, and we really haven't had any reliability issues. When loading the gun, we have had some failures to go into battery, but push the slide forward, shoot, everything's. We have had a few times where the slide fails to lock back, even when shooting one-handed. Now we're switching back to the 115 grain. Let's see how it does. And again, we seem to be having issues with the 115 grain. It did not, it seemed like it went all the way into battery, but it didn't, and we're going to have a light primer strike.
Did not lock back.
Failure to lock back. Okay, so we finished up our 1,000 round range day with the Sig P365, and overall, it's kind of a mixed bag of the results we had. It ran great with 150, or it ran great for the most part with 124s. When we were loading the gun, you would have failures to go into battery, but it would cycle fine after that, and you had failures to lock back. With the 115, we had a lot of issues. So if you are going to run this gun, realize it may be ammo sensitive. Now, shootability-wise, what did you guys think?
Actually, it shot accurately for me, and I love the trigger. My only issues were my big fat hands interacting with the slide release, and the reliability issues we had with it failing to go into battery and so on and so forth.
What about you, Austin?
I thought it was pretty controllable as well. The trigger takes some getting used to. I'm a Glock guy. I'm used to a wall, and I shoot big handguns. So, I mean, there was a lot to adapt to, but all in all, I think it performed well.
Performed pretty well. Is probably not ready. I'm going to say for most people, this example at least is definitely not ready for carry. I would not trust this. It did seem to run better throughout the day. But with those 115s, there was a lot of issues, and I'd like to run it more with 124s and 147s to see if I could get away with that. And I'd probably want to put at least 250 rounds of whatever defensive ammo I was using through this gun just to make sure, consider the amount of issues we had.
Or more. Absolutely.
If you were going to carry it.
Yeah.
It's worth mentioning while we're talking about that, the mag release is fairly recessed. So when you go to do a mag change, you're gonna have to you're gonna have interference between not only hitting the magazine, but the magazine release protruding on the other side, pushing into your hand, making it hard to do.
That was probably something
difficult to
ergonomically for you. I didn't have that issue, but it might have been how I broke my grip. When you're dealing with these small guns, there's going to be little intricacies that you have to learn.
Well, when you shoot like we shoot Glock 17s, we can reach our mag release very easily. And with this gun, we use a different technique where we break grip and gravity drop the mag. And when you intentionally do that, it seems to go pretty well. So you'd have to adjust your shooting style to the magazine release.
So this gun just hit the market. Do you think if they change a few things, maybe increase reliability a little bit, this gun shows a lot of promise?
I mean, based on its size and the impressive amount of capacity Sig has been able to cram in such a little gun, I think it absolutely is a future in the market.
Absolutely.
All right. If you guys enjoyed this, please subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to see more videos like this, more information, please subscribe, comment below, and check out harrysholsters.com. Check out Everyday Ready. They offer a lot of medical supplies, and if you're in the Raleigh, North Carolina area, they also have some great training classes. See you guys later.
All right, so we dropped back to 15 yards, and we put some slow fire on these 3 B8 targets. Top target is the Sig P365. I've actually shot the P365 more accurately than the Smith or the Glock on these small pistols. Although I will say the trigger was less predictable for me, but it definitely breaks clean. I mean, it's a nice trigger pull. There's just no discernible wall. So, which is more like what I'm used to. But I have consistently shot the Sig more accurately through the drills. I will also say, though, that I had the most problems with the Sig. With my big hands, I had a lot of issues with manipulations, getting into the slide release, and that type thing. So that's an issue for me. But as far as accuracy, I think the Sig likes me better than the other two.